Φίλες και φίλοι, καλησπέρα. Απόψε θα δούμε το ρόλο του χρώματος στη μόδα και θα δούμε και τις τάσεις στη μόδα του 2024. Προχωράμε λοιπόν πέρα από τον Αρμάνι σε άλλους σχεδιαστές που είναι πιο νέοι σε ηλικία. Εδώ βλέπουμε τον Βέλγο Dries Van Noten, που θεωρείται κύριος επιδραστής ως σχεδιαστής βέβαια του χρώματος και συχνά τον επενούν για τη μοναδική και ζωντανή χρήση του χρώματος, την οποία έχει ε, φέρει στη μόδα, ακόμα και όταν είναι κάπως λίγο πιο εξτρεμιστική, όπως βλέπουμε εδώ, και στα διάφορα τυπώματα που κάνει στις συλλογές του, και είναι αυτό το οποίο με ρωτούσε προηγουμένως και δεν θυμάμαι ποιος με ρωτούσε. Ο Dries Van Noten είναι γεννημένος στην Αμβέρσα το 1958 και ανήκει στην τρίτη γενιά μιας οικογένειας ραφτών. Σε ηλικία 18 ετών, ο Βέλγος Dries άρχισε να παρακολουθεί το μάθημα σχεδίου μόδας της Βασιλικής Ακαδημίας της Αμβέρσας. Τον βλέπουμε εδώ, το πορτρέτο του. Και όταν αποφοίτησε, άρχισε να ασχολείται ως ελεύθερος επαγγελματίας, ως σύμβουλος σχεδιαστής, πριν ξεκινήσει τη δική του συλλογή ανδρικών ενδυμάτων το 1986. Έχω την εντύπωση ότι μοιάζει και στον Μπέρκμαν λίγο στο πρόσωπό του. Έχει πάρει πολλά βραβεία μόδας και το 2019 ο κύριος Βαν Νότεν συνεργάστηκε με τον παγκοσμίου φήμη σχεδιαστή μόδας Κριστιάν Λακρουά στη συλλογή του για γυναίκες την Άνοιξη και το καλοκαίρι του 2020. Τον Ιούνιο του 2020 και το Σεπτέμβριο του 2021 το Συμβούλιο Σχεδιαστών Μόδας της Αμερικής έδωσε ξανά στον Dries Van Noten το Διεθνές Βραβείο Σχεδιαστή της Χρονιάς. Ο Τζον Γκαλιάνο τώρα πειραματίστηκε επίσης με ζωηρά χρώματα στη γυναικεία συλλογή του Artisanal του 2018 που σχεδιάστηκε για το Maison Margiela, η οποία περιείχε layers από ρούχα σε χρώμα σορμπέ φορεμένα από πίσω προς τα μπρος. Να, όπως βλέπετε εδώ του Γκαλιάνο. Αυτά τα πολύ κεντρικά πράγματα, τα οποία όμως μας θυμίζουν έργα τέχνης, ας πούμε μας θυμίζουν τα έργα του Giacomo Balla, δηλαδή παρμένα από το Bauhaus, έτσι. Πολύ συγκεκριμένα. Ή μας θυμίζουν το ντανταϊστικό αυτό ρούχο που φορούσε ένας που απέγγειλε ποίηματα στον Νταντά. Θέλω να πω ότι υπάρχει μια γέφυρα, ένα υπόγειο κανάλι επικοινωνίας ανάμεσα στα ρεύματα της τέχνης του 20ου και στους σχεδιαστές. Από την άλλη πλευρά επίσης δείξαμε κάποιους σχεδιαστές τώρα που χρησιμοποιούν ένταση στο χρώμα, έντονα χρώματα και διάφορες υφές όπως είναι εδώ. Υπάρχουν όμως και σχεδιαστές γνωστοί γιατί χρησιμοποιούν μια πολύ σκουρόχρωμη μόδα. Ένας από αυτούς πολύ γνωστός είναι ο Γιόχτζι Γιαμαμότο, γνωστός ο Γιαμαμότο που τον βλέπουμε εδώ, και προσπάθησα να κοιτάξω τι συλλογές προτείνονται το 2022. Ο Γιαμαμότο χρησιμοποιεί πάλι δεν μπορείς να το πει ζεν ύφος τώρα αυτό, παρότι είναι ασιατικής καταγωγής και αυτός, αλλά μπορείς να το... είναι πιο αυτό, ας πούμε, το ρούχο εδώ πέρα, το ένδυμα, θυμίζει αρκετά street art, δηλαδή είναι κάτι πιο εναλλακτικό, αλλά εντάξει, και φέτος η μόδα έχει κάτι πολλά φαρδιά και τέτοια πράγματα. Εδώ βλέπουμε ότι είναι του 2022, οπότε είναι μια μόδα την οποία εκφράζει αυτός με αυτά τα σκούρα μπλε, ας πούμε, με τα μαύρα, με τα πολύ σκούρα γκρι, με τα μαύρα κτλ. Υπάρχει επίσης ο Rick Owens, που βλέπουμε εδώ, τα πολύ περίεργα αυτά ρούχα του 2023, που έχουν αυτά τα ανασηκωμένα, βέβαια δεν είναι φορέσιμα ρούχα, αυτά απλά σας τα δείχνω Σας δείχνω, ας πούμε, δημιουργικές εκδοχές τους. Δημιουργικές, τάξη, δημιουργικές, κεντρικές. Αυτό το ρούχο είναι φορέσιμο, είναι του Olivier Teiskens, που και αυτός χρησιμοποιεί μια σκουρόχρωμη παλέτα. Επίσης υπάρχει η Anne de Meulemeester, παρακαλώ, η οποία έχει και αυτή σκουρόχρωμα. Επίσης υπάρχει ο οίκος μόδας Comme des Garçons, που είναι γνωστός και σχεδιαστής του οποίου είναι ο Ray Kagakubo, όπως βλέπετε εδώ, Comme des Garçons, ο οποίος έχει αυτά εδώ τα κεντρικά πάλι ρούχα. Ας περάσουμε όμως τώρα να δούμε τις φετινές τάσεις μόδας και ας δούμε και κάποιες εκδοχές που είναι πια φορέσιμες. Δηλαδή, θέλω να πω ότι αυτό το πράγμα δεν μπορείς να το φορέσεις και να βγεις έξω, ούτε αυτό. Αυτό άντε και να μπορέσεις λιγάκι χωρίς το καπέλο. Λέω τώρα εγώ. Εδώ λοιπόν θα δούμε τώρα, να προσγειωθούμε λιγάκι και θα δούμε δύο βίντεο από δύο εξαίρετες στιλίστριες, οι οποίες είναι πολύ πεπειραμένες, πολύ διάσημες. Η μία είναι Γαλλίδα και η άλλη είναι Αμερικανίδα. Για να δούμε λοιπόν αυτά τα δύο βίντεο, να δούμε πώς μπορούμε να τα φορέσουμε τις τάσεις μόδας που είναι γενικώς της εποχής, θα μας τις δείξουν και όλες τις τάσεις αυτές. Γι' αυτό δεν μπήκα στη διαδικασία εγώ να δείξω άλλο βίντεο πέρα από το Αρμάνι, το οποίο ήταν κάτι εξαίσιο, ας πούμε. Ας ξεκινήσουμε λοιπόν από την Ζουστίν, η οποία μας μιλάει για την εποχή που ζούμε τώρα, δηλαδή το χειμώνα του 2024, ξεκινώντας φυσικά από το φθινόπωρο του 2023, η οποία μας λέει τι μπορούμε να φορέσουμε, ποιες είναι οι τάσεις της μόδας και πώς μπορούμε να τις ενσωματώσουμε στη δική μας την καρνταρόμπα.
If you watched my trend videos in the past, you already know how I like to do this. I go through lots of runway trends all around the world. I select or identify the most significant ones. I prepare trend boards, and then I present these curated trend boards to you in a way that makes the trends wearable in real life. And I must say I'm extremely pleased with this season's trends. Personally, you let me know what you think. Let's start with one that is clearly becoming a macro trend, aka a trend that is a constant across many different seasons. Quiet luxury. Your first reaction might be unspectacular, underwhelming. I don't need designer clothes to get that look. I would say that is not entirely true. If you look at the two on the left, Chloe and Givenchy, the materials feel very luxurious on the skin. The cut is loose and comfortable, but elegant, not sloppy. At Gucci, we're seeing neutral hues, where the jacket is oversized and comfy, but tailored, and it's paired with comfy white leg trousers. Vuitton's collection is surprisingly low-tech this season. Normally it's a festival of laser cutting, 3D printing and whatnot. This time the palette is muted, but it's not simply a vest thrown over grandpa pants. It's a deconstructed vest, and the look is accessorized with a scarf that has exactly the right length. You know what I mean? The last two, Bottega Veneta and Hermes, feel very similar. A tunic-length top worn over a knee-length skirt, plus high boots. The Hermes look in particular is extremely strong in my opinion. It's one color, but impeccable proportions. I think this is a masterclass in winter layering. Okay, let's sum it up. This quiet luxury look often involves a hemline that is below the knee or full length. There isn't much skin showing. It looks simple, but the materials, the textures, the proportions aren't simple whatsoever. Nothing is done by accident here. Everything is carefully put together and curated. The hues are very often neutral or quite muted. You won't see a color clash here. You would see complementary colors. You're not going to see anything neon. It's timeless, not trendy, color-wise as well. If you're aiming for a timeless, not trendy wardrobe, this season is your season, because I think this trend is going to be completely dominant across the board in all price categories. You will see plenty of options in stores for you. Next up, pleats that highlight the silhouette and create beautiful drapery. Several options. First one, Missoni and Victoria Beckham are pulling the fabric along a little rope to to create these pleats. It's very customizable. You could pull more or less on the ropes to make the dress more or less skin tight. I like the versatility of it. Then at Dolce & Gabbana, the pleats all converged towards that tight bow. The bow attracts the eye, so it highlights the hips of the model in the end. At Bottega Veneta, the pleats are asymmetric and created by this central accessory. Note how the fabric drapes downwards from there, creating the impression of a full skirt. You'll hear about that a bit later in this video. It has to do with the 50s. Givenchy places the transparency in the pleats strategically. Look around the hips of the model here again. Even though the outfit is one monochromatic block, it seems that the model is wearing a top, long sleeves underneath, and a separate skirt. And it's very flattering. The color probably isn't timeless, that eggshell yellow, but the shape definitely is. And then I wanted to include this company dress because her look is definitely doable. So you could perfectly add a brooch or a safety pin or whatever to a top that you already own, you know, to create that sort of drapery. I feel like it's a trend that's super easy to experiment with. Would you agree? Also, from the trend boards, you can tell that the pleats are mostly seen on skirts and dresses on the runways. But who says you can't do that on, you know, white leg palazzo pants, a crisp white oversized shirt, or a knitted top that you already have? This trend is fully enriched, I would say. Next trend, you know what a cache-poussière is? It's that sort of very long cowboy coat that they wear in Once Upon a Time in the West. Couldn't find a proper English translation for it. It's like a very long coat, very functional, a bit A-line or straight downward, with a touch of military style. I hope you know what I mean. The looks feel protective. The shape is elongating the entire silhouette. At Stella McCartney, the edges are finished as though the girl just walked through the desert for weeks. It's very on character for a Western movie. Givenchy is the more dress-up option. This dual look is probably the typical French uniform, so to speak, with the blue and white stripes underneath, but intentionally military inspired, with laced up boots and this double-breasted coat with huge buttons and shoulder elements. Then there is a lot of Todds on this board because I find that they nail the trends, literally. Big lapel, double-breasted, floor length, strong shoulder, and then A-line going down. It really wraps around you and keeps you warm. The brown outfit in the center is not outerwear, but it's blurring the lines between outerwear and ready-to-wear. Again, you see these strong shoulders, big lapels, crossing like a double-breasted coat. Finally, outerwear that looks warm and cozy. And I must add, it isn't always like that. Not every winter on the runways. For the next trend, we're switching universes. Back in time, we're looking into 50s style. Do you know Dior's new look, which became the look of the 1950s? I'm talking about the jacket that hits very low on the hips, that looks molded on the woman, almost like a corset. Many of the looks on the runways this season reminded me of the new look and of a 1950s silhouette in general. Let's see. First up, Todds. Super marked waist, and the jacket is so long that the skirt underneath is barely visible. Versace presented a more office-appropriate version with a knee-length skirt, but the jacket shape is in the end very similar. Jil Sander made it in leather, worn over pants. At McQueen and Balmain, the contrast between a narrow waist and wider hips is achieved through a peplum shape. These women are both wearing leather pants and off-the-shoulder bustier necklines, very similar in terms of silhouette. Last but not least, when speaking of the new look, Dior. They're not the house which drew onto that silhouette the most, surprisingly, even though they would have full legitimacy to do so because they invented it. But I wanted to include this dress anyway. Bustier, tight waist, and then a long full skirt, like we saw on the previous board. These two is really a shape you'd have seen in the 50s. Is this trend hinting towards a less oversized and more gendered era in fashion again? We'll see that in the couple of seasons coming, I guess. It's interesting to see a trend like this next to more unisex clothing than ever before. And it's like that sometimes with trends. You see trends that go in directions that don't look at all compatible with each other. but that's how it is. Our next trend, plaids. Plaids are back, bigger, making a statement. Here is our cache-poussière Western coat again, but now as wool plaid, or as a long skirt, like at Dior, or as a full look, like at Chanel. Here they've combined two different motifs, but in hues that work very harmoniously together. It looks very cohesive. And then we have the bolder options. Plaid plus stripes, like at Paul Smith, but it's an accessory, so it's still not the main pattern of the look. Next step, a bit more advanced, is a plaid plus a different plaid, plus boots that have a pattern too, but another one. This feels a little bit punk because it's Andreas Kronthaler for Vivienne Westwood. To be expected from that house, but I feel like this is a very successful combination. Even more advanced is when the trousers have the 3D pattern and the hair matches too. That Issey Miyake lady is looking sharp, isn't she? Plaids are not always in fashion. They come and go and then come back, but like in cycles, and it's pretty clear that they will come back in trend eventually. It's the case this winter. By definition, a plaid has a main color and then accent color or colors for the lines. So they are great to pair with other garments in an outfit that include the colors that are the accent colors on the plaid, if that makes sense. Plaids are a very smart kind of pattern for a well-curated wardrobe color palette that is not only consisting of solid colors. I highly recommend it. Our next trend is an accessory trend. It's about clutches. I'm very happy with this trend because it fits a project that I'm working on. It's a bit too early to talk about it now, but hopefully soon. Probably in I'm not sure I'm pronouncing this right. And Stella McCartney, the clutch matches the outfit. Sophisticated, but it's not always easy to have a clutch matching each color in your wardrobe. At Saint Laurent, the clutch is matching the bracelet. Very refined and sophisticated, I think. Then at Victoria Beckham, Jil Sander and Miu Miu, the clutch does not match the clothes. And it has become a hugely important element in terms of volume and color. It's as important as the clothes themselves for the outfit, and it's worn like this under the arm. Vuitton is the exception. They keep trying to capitalize on the LV monogram print regardless of the trends of the season because it's what made the house what it is today. But otherwise, clutches tend to come in solid colors, which can perfectly be bright and saturated. That yes, but the years of logo clutches and neon patterns are over for now. The only issue with this trend is now that clutches are becoming like a major central accessory in an outfit, prices are going through the roof. North of 1,000 euros for a clutch, that is quite a budget. And then at that price, I want like a wristlet or a strap or a way of carrying it. I don't want to carry it under my arm like this. Maybe that's just me. Let me know what you think in the comments. There were not many prints or patterns this season overall. Some fashion houses did present some, but it often felt a bit forced rather than organic, and that's why you're not seeing many on my boards. Logo sweaters, trendy plains, things like this are a little bit out of trend too right now. And another thing that you might have noticed, or rather not noticed, is uncertainty. These runway shows are very low-tech compared to previous seasons. They're going back to more textile materials. We're not seeing many experiments in textures or proportions. It feels all very wearable. That is what happens in fashion when we don't know for sure what the future holds or where the economy is headed. The big houses that need to secure the turnover of the year will go back to their archive, dig deep into past collections, and try to find safe bestseller looks that are timeless rather than trendy and that will sell for sure. The result is that everything feels a lot more wearable and real-time suited. I'm here for it. And so sometimes the learnings when doing trend boards like this is also in what is not on the trend boards. At any rate, you know, I always say trends are suggestions, never a must. Keep the trends or the ideas that you liked from this video that you might want to try this season and leave the rest.
If you want to look modern and current and have fun with fashion, but also find pieces that will seamlessly integrate into your wardrobe, then you're going to love this video. I'm going to break down all of the hottest fall winter fashion trends. Hi ladies, it's Erin and welcome back to my channel. Fall winter trends, we talk about them every single year. This year I want to do it a little differently. I want to hone in on the top 5 that I think are the most exciting, but also the trends that I think are the most accessible, the ones that are the most wearable, because it's great to push the envelope, it's great to take those fashion risks, but you also want to do it in a way that will work with your lifestyle. So let's get in there. Let's talk about the trends. I'm going to highlight 5. Trend number 1, fired up. The color red is red hot all over the runways. It is a beautiful color, feminine, bold, powerful, packs a style punch. On the runways, it was mostly head to toe red looks, really going all in with the color red, but you can just do one piece. You could do a red lip, you could do a red blazer, you could do a red bag. I have my Chloe handbag back there. Do red shoes, red booties. You could do a red accessory, sunglasses, something like that, something simple. Red is an incredible color to wear, and there are so many different shades, literally hundreds. So there is a shade of red that will work for you and your skin tone. It's not just the bold red that's on trend, it's also burgundy, which is such a gorgeous shade and works so well on so many different skin tones. I just did a whole blog post about burgundy featuring some pics, so if that color really speaks to you, make sure you check out that blog post. We'll put a link below in the description box. Some red pieces that I have: this red ALC crop jacket. I have the matching pants, so it's a full suit and I can wear as a full suit. But the beautiful thing about a suit is you can also wear them as separate. So I could wear the jacket with jeans, I could wear the pants with a white lace top. You can mix and match those pieces too, so you don't always have to go all in with the color trend. You can just add those pops that I talked about before, and red really is one of the most powerful colors. So on those days when you need a little pick-me-up, or you're feeling really powerful and confident, or you really want to stand out, try the red trend. For designer inspiration, look at Stella McCartney, Ferragamo, or Alexander McQueen. Other colors that are very on trend, I mentioned burgundy, yellow. Yellow going into spring is still going to be huge. White, black and white, a very classic color combination. Metallics, cobalt blue, and all shades of green. If you're not sure what shade of red works best for you, hold it up to your face without makeup and see what it does to your face. If it brightens up your face, that's your shade. If it makes you look a little bit sickly or not quite right, then that is obviously not your shade. So make sure it's the right shade of red for you. Another huge trend this season, spot on, those polka dots. This is a print that is a classic, so I would say it's always in, quote unquote, but it just happens to be more in than usual. Polka dots, the polka dot print is a very accessible, wearable print. They're small scale polka dots. It's not going to add volume. The larger the scale of the print, the more volume it's going to add, so something to consider. Marni had a lot of oversized polka dots on the runway, so that would be something that would add volume or call attention to a specific area of your body. But in terms of prints, the polka dot is very wearable, very accessible, and a classic, and beautiful, and feminine, and all the things, right? I happen to love polka dots. I'm not a huge print person, but I think polka dots, like I said, is very accessible. So I have a couple of polka dot blouses and a polka dot dress, but you could do a polka dot skirt. You could do polka dot pumps. You know, there are many ways that you can incorporate this print into your lives and into your wardrobe. There are other prints that are very on trend that I just wanted to highlight: plaid, houndstooth, and stripes. Of course, stripes always in, but again, just more in the normal right now. For designer inspiration for the polka dots, I mentioned Marni. You can also look at Balmain, Saint Laurent, and Valentino. Trend number 3, so hip. What do I mean by so hip? The peplum shape. Peplum top, peplum blazers, peplum dresses. Peplums are so incredibly feminine and can really create that beautiful feminine shape that many of us are looking for when they fit your body correctly. You really want the peplum that starts right around the natural waist. If you're not sure where your natural waist is, it usually falls around where the belly button is. That's going to create that beautiful feminine, almost hourglass silhouette. Designers to look at for peplum: Brandon Maxwell, David Koma, and Tove. That's a Danish name and brand. With a peplum jacket or top or blazer, you can always add a waist belt to even give you more waist definition, which is a beautiful feminine look. You can create the peplum effect on your own without actually having a peplum piece by doing some stronger shoulders, a waist belt, and maybe more of a full skirt that creates that hourglass silhouette and shape. Personally, a couple pieces that I have already that I love that are peplum is this green Jonathan Simkai peplum jacket. It's kind of like a sweater jacket because it is in a knit fabric. I also have this gorgeous black Jonathan Simkai corset peplum top that I love that's still in stock in case you are interested in that piece. And this super cool Loewe peplum belt. So I wore the peplum belt over a blazer. You can wear it over a blouse, you can wear it over a dress. That's going to add the peplum shape, but without having the actual peplum piece. And then you can control with the belt where it starts and where it's positioned on your body. Before I dive into the next trend, I just wanted to remind you all, and I've said this a bunch of times, but I want you to treat the trends like you would with any shopping experience. You're going to shop the trends based on what speaks to you, what you love, what you're drawn to, what is magnetic to you, what makes you feel the most confident. You don't have to try every single trend. You don't have to try the cargo jeans. You don't have to try the polka dots or the plaid or the houndstooth. You can try and wear what works best for you. These are the trends that I think are the most accessible and wearable. But again, you have to really pick and choose and shop the trends and figure out which ones work best for you. Okay, trend number 4, power play. Woo! There is definitely a theme with the trends this year, which is really bringing the power back to us, which I happen to love. I want you all, and I think the designers want us all to feel powerful. That's sort of the theme of the year. All right, so power play. Think strong shoulders like 80s, think suiting, matching sets, pinstripes, vests, trousers, even neckties. There's this really cute white button-down blouse with a black necktie by Alice and Olivia that I was looking at that I thought is super cool. I'm not sure if I could pull it off, but I really am drawn to it. I'm also very drawn to the strong shoulder. You know, I've talked about before how the strong shoulder can really give you some volume across the top, which in turn will make your waist look tinier and will create more of an hourglass shape. If you already have strong shoulders, this may not be the trend that you're drawn to because it will just exaggerate the size of the shoulders. But if you're someone like me that has more narrow, kind of sloping shoulders, it's a really beautiful way to create that feminine hourglass shape, to create that power that I talked about without having to do any work for it. No shoulder press is required. For designer inspiration for power play, look at Balmain, who has super exaggerated strong shoulders, as does Saint Laurent, and you have a Balmain blazer that has the built-in shoulders. The ones in the fall runways, though, were even more exaggerated. So you can kind of go minimal on the strong shoulder and you can go really over the top on the strong shoulder. It's just whatever your preference is. And I think, you know, obviously we can harken this all back to the 80s, but there always is a new twist or a new spin on the trends. So it's not going to look like the same exact jacket that you're pulling out from the 80s era. Other accessible ways to wear this trend, you know, pinstripes, that's a really accessible print and pattern, especially because it is the vertical stripes that will elongate you and make you look taller and leaner. You could also try a vest. I just recently styled a vest with a silky cream blouse underneath and some tan trousers. I even threw a little blazer over it. I also showed a matching set by Raimi Brooke with a vest and a pair of cargo trousers. You could do a vest with a set. You could create your own set with a black vest and black trousers. I think the vest is a really cool piece. It's very accessible, wearable. You could easily layer a button down underneath it, or something with a cool collar, or something with really beautiful like puffy or blouse and sleeves. Like, play around with it, but I think the vest is a really great piece to try out that doesn't feel too crazy. The 5th trend I want to highlight is back to basics. This is one of my favorites. I mean, talk about accessibility. It's a return to minimalism. Lots of black and white, that classic color combo I talked about before. Your basics with a twist, that quiet luxury trend, the stealth wealth trend. It's not a lot of embellishment, not a lot of fuss, not a lot of logos, just really simple, tailored pieces that are beautifully cut, that are also classic, that will also be versatile and wearable. One of the things I talk most about on this channel are the power of the basics and how important they are. 80% of your wardrobe should be basics, 20% trends. You should spend 80% of your budget on basics and 20% on the trends. So even though this is a trend, these are really basic pieces. So if you find a piece that really fits you beautifully and it's a basic, don't be afraid to invest a little bit more because it's worth it. You're going to wear it for years and years to come. By the way, if you're not sure what basics you should have, I created a course. It's called Style Made Simple, and it walks you through step by step exactly what you should have in your wardrobe in order for it to function seamlessly. And there will be a link in the description box below to that course if you're interested in going through it. If you want designer inspiration for back to basics, look at Gucci, Miu Miu, and Christian Dior. So as many of you know, I had the honor of going to the Fall Ready to Wear fashion show in Paris and saw Christian Dior, the Dior fashion show. And it was really this like somber, sexy tone, you know, back to these really feminine, basic silhouettes, not a lot of embellishment, really clean lines, minimal. That's what back to basics is. So if you are really somebody who's drawn already to classic style, this is one of those areas, this is one of those trends that you really can get behind, no question. Area of your life that doesn't feel heavy, that feels more light, that makes you feel like you have a little extra spring in your step, that can add that confidence you're looking for. So even though all of the trends are not going to speak to you, and even though some of them you're going to think, oh my gosh, that's so ridiculous, like find the ones that really light you up, find the ones that really excite you. And maybe invest in a couple of new pieces because style is powerful. Great style is powerful. Don't be afraid to experiment. Don't be afraid to take the risks. Don't be afraid to try new things. It is, as I've talked about before, it's one of those things where you start taking some risks with fashion. The next thing you know, you start taking risks in other areas of your life. It's an easy gateway to open the door to new things for you in your life that I think can make such a huge impact. All right, so let's recap the trends. Number 1, fired up, red hot, all over the fall runways. 2, spot on, polka dots, very accessible, wearable, beautiful feminine print that is also a classic you'll wear for years to come. So hip, peplums, creating an hourglass shape, creating that very feminine, powerful shape, very on trend. Number 4, power play. Think 80s, think strong shoulder, pinstripe suits, neckties. Number 5, back to basics. Elevated basics, basics with a twist. Return to classics and minimalism, quiet luxury, stealth wealth. Very accessible, very wearable, no matter what your lifestyle. So which trend is your favorite? Which one are you going to try? Please share with us in the comments. I would love to see